Hey, welcome back. Quick and easy video today. I'm going to give you a walk around of the two 2106s we picked up on our recent trip to Saskatchewan. It's been about a week. We haven't really had a time to take even an in-depth look beyond what we seen when we first assessed them on pickup, but I think we did really well.
Yeah, we haven't touched these things since we unloaded them.
So let's take a look. You guys will get to see things as we discover them just the same.
This car really surprised us with its overall exterior condition. The interior we'll get to in a minute, but exterior wise it's actually pretty rust free. We do have some surface rust. That's normal, minor spray paint fixes. It only has a bit of through rust when you get into like the bottom here. It's got a little bit here that'll have to be addressed. The same on the other side. It is got still all the chrome pieces with it in the trunk, but it's all pretty good. It's not rotted through. We are going to have to do a bunch of work to this to make it pass an out of province inspection, which is very similar to an MOT inspection from my understanding most other places, except this doesn't have to pass emissions. That's never a concern here in Alberta. It's got a pretty good rust through in the back here. That's mostly peeled off, but right here there's a good hole at one of the reinforcements. This is all surface. Through right here in this rocker. So this rocker is going to have to be addressed. But it's actually all through in the rocker. So whole new rocker and sill in the rear as well as in the front. We'll come back to the interior here in a minute. It's really bad here, as you can see. But that's just a rocker and sill. We've covered them before. A small hole we can patch. Other than that, this will be getting cut out for our plans anyways. And yeah, that's really the only little tiny pinhole right here we have to address. But for rust wise, that's it. This car is actually, considering it's an 82, in phenomenal shape. Under the hood is all there. Age has definitely not been kind. Plug wires are all destroyed. Well, and most has chewed through everything. You know, it's all broken. The dizzy's seized, the adjusters don't want to move, points are stuck. But that's what you expect for a car that hasn't moved in God knows how long. No one really knows. Importantly though, it is all there. From underneath, it looked in pretty good shape when I was laying underneath it. Out in the field, there's no real rust. The brakes all move, they kind of work, but it'll be all getting new and replaced. The real problem with this car, and what's going to give us trouble, is the interior. The interior is absolutely destroyed in every way. There is not a single piece of this usable. And anything that is usable is so covered in mouse, crap, and hantavirus that we are not going to use it anyways. So the next thing I have to do is actually talk to Richard over at Thistle Automotive, just a mechanic shop across the street really, that does out of province inspections. And we have to see if I can get this thing to pass an out of province with an aluminum plate dash and interior and race seats. Because that's pretty much where this car is going to go. Because the interior is so thrashed we can't use it, so we're not buying new interior. We'll build it. As long as they'll let us pass it out of province. If they don't, I don't know. We'll make it work.
So that covers a walk around of the beige 1982. Overall, car's pretty solid. Interior shot, but I think we might be able to get a runner out of it without too much effort.
That's the plan.
So, we'll move on to the other 1982 we got, which was Tyler Parkinson's personal car. Let's take a look at it.
So all in all, the car is in pretty good shape. It doesn't have a bumper, which, as you can obviously see, one of the interesting things about a Canadian 1600 or 2106 is on the bumper, mounted right here as you've seen in the other cars, where the signal light is. The European ones have a signal light here and then a nice little chrome bumper. For this thing to pass an out of province, because this will have to pass one too, we're actually going to have to play switcheroo with the bumpers to make this thing pass. The bumpers off the other car will go on this one, till it passes. Then I'll pull them, do signal light somewhere else, and then swap it back so that one can pass. Other than that, it's in relatively decent shape. It's a bit of a, it'll fool you a little bit though, because this fender is not attached. It's eventually will be. It's not right now, because someone hit this thing with a bobcat, or a skid steer as everyone else calls them, and put a big crease in it. So we will have to permanently attach the fender. Now the rest of the car is not in bad. The rockers are a little dinged, not too terrible. Solid overall. Rear wheel well is a bit buggered up. You can see where the skid steer caught it here as well. But we have a plan to get rid of all this anyways with our build. The only other thing that's going to give us issues is the rear lowers. They are in a little bit worse shape than the tan, so it will get some, it'll get some sheet metal put in it. Oh no, not too bad. No back bumper either. So we will have to play the switcheroo with that as well. But it's all good on the outside. This rear quarter is in a touch worse condition, just mildly. So we'll replace that with all new. It does have a set of Volkswagen wheels, which have a set of adapters on it, just like Ivan does. It's kind of interesting that this car got a set of adapters years before my car did, but exact same bolt pattern and everything that I did. Other than that, not bad. This rocker's got some surface bubbling, but all in all, it looks pretty solid. So hopefully, as long as we only have to attach a fender, fix rear quarters, throw some bumpers on it, exterior wise it should pass. The one thing that this doesn't have is an engine. The engine that's going to go into it is the 1.7 of the Neva we picked up, and that's in my storage unit. That'll get some love, some building, and it'll go in here with some other goodies. Lots of goodies actually, because this car is going to get a whole metric butt ton of stuff done to it. The interior is the most interesting thing in this car. Besides the fact that most of it's sitting loose, as well as some BMW seats, there ain't really a whole lot else for interior in it. But this steering wheel is the most interesting piece as far as I'm concerned. I've never seen a rally style wheel with a Lada logo in it, and apparently this was an option from the dealership and was put on from this car from brand new. That in itself to me is cool. Ancient hot rod parts that never knew existed. This one's going to be some love to get back together. All the interior. This will be a street car, so most of the interior will be new. That brake pedal absolutely floors me. It's cool and cute, weird, awesome. But yeah, this will, being a street car, this will get a little more back to original interior, make it look nice and proper. This will be a pretty respectable little street car when we're all done. But all in all, two wicked cars for two completely different builds that we have in mind. It's just going to take some time to do.
So guys, that gives you a quick overview of the two project cars we picked up while we were in Saskatchewan a week ago. So stay tuned for more updates on these and our other projects as we tear through them.
Yep.
We'll catch you next time.
Later.